Your attention, please. It's time for the final countdown. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
That's right. You're here with the doc. The clinic is open. Let's get this show going. Hey, welcome everybody to this today's live stream. We're going to be hitting on the fabulous, wonderful, delusional SADE RENEE L, or SADE RENEE Kellogg Tharp. So I know she's been hit on by several other YouTubers, but we're going to go and we're going to give you our spin on this. Every time I see one of her videos, there's that scene from Airplanes where that lady's freaking out and everybody goes up and shakes her and slaps her. That's pretty much where this person is. So let's go ahead. Let's get this video going right now.
Islam, peace, love, and power, energy.
Now, I have to admit, she kind of reminds me of a cat when she does that, like some kitten playing with a ball. That I guess that's how far her delusions go. Maybe she thinks she's a cat. I don't know. She's wearing looks like fur. So again, you know, she's already there meowing, playing. So let's go with this.
I am SADE RENEE L, and I'm back at it again with another video. And today I'm actually going to be reading this document that I just created in regards to the kidnapping of my child, who's currently being held hostage for profit. Ashe Divine L, all rights reserved.
And again, she's not L. Neither is she. It's Thorpe, Kellogg, or Kellogg Tharp. That's what it is. Again, putting an L at the end of your name, signing some piece of paperwork that you created and threw up to the clerk of the court or the county clerk to notarize that it was you that was presenting the document in your signature does not officially change your name.
And this is pretty much just giving more awareness to my situation in regards to what's going on and the cruelty of CPS, including fraud. So I'm just going to read straight through it.
I've been looking for the fraud. I just sent out email request and a signed affidavit. A letter to the records department with the 8th District Court. To get her entire case file. I know we can find bits of it, but I'm wanting everything. So I reached out to Department of Child and Family Services. I reached out to the county clerk, the clerk of the court, even reached out to the police department, sheriff's departments in that area. Yes, and they love that Moroccan flag. Again, they didn't create that. That is the Moroccan flag. The country of Morocco has nothing to do with Moors. So it's they're very good at appropriating items that don't even belong to them. And again, you know, do a quick Google search, excuse me, and you'll find that same flag again. The flag of Morocco is a red field with a green emerald pentagram. Red has considerable historical significance in Morocco. Proclaiming the descent from royal Abbasidine dynasty. This ruling house was associated with the Islamic prophet Muhammad. So again, nothing to do with Moors at all. So again, these moops have hijacked another country's flag for their own. So just a little bit of history on that. So here we go.
I put the title as Human Trafficking, Child Abduction, Ashe Divine L.
Okay, no human trafficking. It's not human trafficking because there is none. You were not and are still not a stable person to be caring for this child. You did a home birth with no medical assistant at all. And I want to thank truth, science, and fact or fiction. Or facts or frauds. I'm a prior medical professional, and when I saw that, I'm like, that's just wrong in all shapes of the imagination. You don't spice up or clean the placenta or any of that. I mean, that is just a biohazard, and I'm sure they've seen these videos of hers and they see the delusion. Now, granted, there are some video clips that she has taken where she's not all into this. It doesn't look like she's all into going full on moop retard. You can call them soft tards, but this is a moop tard. And she doesn't look like she's in that route. It looks like she fell on hard times before her child was taken. And that's what led her to go into this type of belief system, this mysticism, this delusion of power, thinking she's better than everybody else. But again, I could digress. There's been no fraud at all. No human trafficking that she states. Her child was taken from her and put into the care of Child Protective Services. Just that's what they're meant for. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Morons.
Kidnapped by CFS Las Vegas. Purpose: to expose CFS activities and illegal abduction of my daughter, Ashe Divine L. Reason: improper removal. No abuse or neglect ever occurred. The request: to immediately return my daughter home and the case be dismissed. Investigation request: I request a full CFS investigation, All right, so purpose. I'll go ahead and read the first paragraph. Greetings. I want to share with you how my daughter and I was victimized by CFS and how we became targets by a biased social worker.
The social worker she's talking about is not biased by any stretch of the imagination. I've actually gone back and looked at some of the other cases. This person is very, unbiased. She did everything by the book. Again, this delusion, you screwed up. That's the other way to look at it. So
I want to start out by saying I never abused or neglected my daughter. While currently living through
criminal record, court records will prove otherwise.
This nightmarish ordeal, I have been compelled to find out all I can about this agency. My daughter has been kidnapped since 6/28 of 2020.
That's when her daughter was removed from her care and put into the care of Child Protective Services.
My independent investigation has taken place over the course of 9 months.
So her Moorish investigation that she conducted out of her delusion of grandeur and mysticism is what she's done over the last 9 months.
Putting in 16-hour-long days, 7 days a week. After calling CFS hundreds of times, reviewing thousands of videos, speaking to many other mothers, and investigating those who work within CFS realm, I have come to know that this agency is in fact corrupt. They are holding...
Do you know what's funny, though, is not once has she ever shown any bit of proof on any of that. Yes, that's great that you watched some video that got taken out of context to fit a narrative. That's great that you talked to other mothers that probably didn't give you the full story of why their child was removed from them. So there's more to this. And the one thing about these moop tards that we all know and love is they never give the whole story at all. They don't even give a quarter of the story. So
my child hostage for profit. I hope that through my own experience and knowledge of others, I can share with you what families and children are subjected to and how they are forced to needlessly suffer at the hands of CFS.
So there's been no force. There's a track record with her of not doing what she agreed she was going to do to get her child back. So CFS, Department of Family and Child Services, they don't want to keep your child, okay? And don't take this the wrong way. And if you do, oh, well, it's your damn fault. It puts a burden on the state to bring that kid in and have to care for that child. The ultimate goal is to give the kid back to the parents. However, there were things that she was supposed to do, classes she was supposed to go through, to prove that, yes, I am a fit mother. I can take care of my child. She never did any of those because, again, she went on her Muctard progression, and she decided, well, you're all wrong. I'm all right. We're going to do this the dumbass way, which is this BS through the Muctard system. And I'm just going to file a bunch of paperwork that has no sense of any legality. It's not going to do anything. And she decided not to follow the program that she had in the beginning agreed with, that she had set up with Department of Family and Child Services. So she slapped her own self in the head, pretty much. If she would have just done what was set out before her, she'd have her child back. This would have been done within 6 to 8 months. And then, yeah, you're still going to have follow-on visits. They're still going to require you to come in and still have counseling. They're going to want to check on the child. They're going to want to check on the home. Those are all standard things. And that's well within the state's rights. They want to make sure you're not abusing a defenseless child. So she refused not to do that. And this is what it's led to.
It is because of these reasons that I have become proactive and more than ever determined to help reform the system that destroys many, many lives. Some states are applying the family-friendly techniques with great success. However, the practice of CFS in Las Vegas leave a lot to be desired. This agency should be monitored, and I feel they should be immediately investigated and audited. I have reason to believe that they are embezzling funds, for there seems to be a conspiracy within this agency. I have seen some things that are of suspicious nature. It is apparent that this agency is operated solely on profit level basis.
Okay, first off, Department of, I'll tell you right now, even where I live here in Savannah, no, they do not work for profit at all. What they're doing is the fines and the fees that they're charging goes to caring. Yes, it goes to their budget, but there's things in their budget such as caring for these children, training foster parents, medical care for these kids, other programs. I mean, there is so much more that the Department of Family and Child Services does that no one really takes the time to actually look at the services they provide. They just look at, oh, they take kids. No, that's not true. The first thing they do is they want to talk to the parents and find out what's going on. They don't want to take your kid. Trust me. That's the last thing they want to do. They know the hardship and emotional and mental anguish it puts on a child, especially an older child. You know, you try to rip a 3-4-year-old out of a household. It ain't going to be pretty. You know, they understand this. And to some people, it seems, and I've seen some of these videos she's talking about, and it does seem they're heartless, but they got to take their feelings out of the equation. Okay. They've got to be that strong, now responsible type with that child and say, you know, whoever it is, okay, come with me. And then they do their part. And then once all the parties are settled down, now they come in and say, all right, mom, dad, you want your kid back? We want to give him or her back. However, these are the things that need to be accomplished. If you don't do that, we can't give you your child back.
I feel
Before she goes, that's the other reason why we have the issue with domestic violence is there's nothing in there to counsel these people, both men and women, that are the aggressors in domestic violence. So what happens is they get released out of jail or whatever, or you know, they try to fix things, but there's no checks and balances. And this is why you see a high level murder come out of those kind of situations. You don't want to put a helpless child back into a house where the parents aren't taking this seriously, because that's going to lead to retaliation on the child is what's going to happen.
As if Adoption Family Services Act, the ASFA, is the reason that many other agencies are corrupted. This law sealed the fate for these children, for they are now commodity.
They're not commodities. Let me explain something to you. When a child goes into the foster care system, right, and there is the ability or the option to adopt that child, it costs money. There is a lot of legal back work. that is done. They've got to investigate the family that wants to adopt to make sure that that's a good, safe family. They do background checks. They want to make sure financially the family is stable enough to take care of another child. There is, again, it's not a for-profit racket. It's really not. Yes, there's a lot of red tape you have to go through. Yes, it is expensive, and it probably shouldn't be as expensive. And those are things that, as normal human beings, we could write letters to our, to our county leaders, our state leaders, and say, hey, I'm all for adopting a child, but man, it is way too expensive. We got to do something. These kids need out of the system and into a stable home. There's all these parents that want to do it, but they don't do it because it's so expensive. And the reason is there's a whole bunch of legal paperwork, stuff that has to get changed, child's name, social security numbers, things of that nature that have to be changed over. And it takes legal power to do that stuff with a law firm that's able to help. So again, it's not for profit. Trust me on this.
Due to the quotas, and the sale of children has become rampant.
I'd like to see these quotas she's talking about, because I went and researched the ever-loving heck out of Nevada's, I think it's Cook County too, there in Nevada. And I went in and researched and looked and asked, and I've got emails out to the head person for DFAS, for Family Services, Department of Family and Child Services, and said, hey, do you have some sort of adoption quota per month or per year, or a quota of how many kids you're trying to take out of people's homes? I'm going to guarantee you that that's another lie. That's another loop that we're working on closing. So again, I couldn't see any quotas. It's kind of like the misnomer that, there's a quota of tickets that cops have to write every month. Well, no, that's not true. And I come from a family of law enforcement, firefighters, and military. That's not true. Now, they have a number of interactions they have to have every month. And an interaction could be something as simple as, them sitting in their car and somebody walks up and they just start talking. That's an interaction, or they're at a McDonald's or something, getting something to eat, and they're just talking to another person. That's an interaction. That's police interaction. It's not a quota to write tickets. Trust me. There's more than enough unpaid tickets out there that if they could collect them all, they would have no problem funding the police. So,
taking children away from their homes has indeed become a very profitable business for CFS.
She can't prove it.
Summary.
She's posted no proof.
My first and only child, Ashe Divine L., was unnecessarily abducted and is currently getting traumatized by CFS in Las Vegas.
No, she's not being
This began with a
traumatized.
biased social worker named Nicholas Eason, who created false allegation and falsified the report.
No, he didn't.
Without any proof. Nicholas Eason lied and said my 11-month-old daughter suffered from harmful behavior that was terrorizing, degrading, painful, emotional, traumatic, and continued to lie. That's
her belief into this whole BS mysticism delusion of the Moorish American Free National. That's what he's talking about. That is a dangerous lifestyle for a defenseless child to be in. Again, I have no idea. That's why I've requested the court, all the cases involving her, is because I want to look at them. I want to read through all these documents that they have. Again, she refused to do anything within the parameters of what Child Protective Services set out for her that she needed to do. And so now let's blame everybody else, and it's all their fault. Again, Whitdagger even said it, she has a drinking problem. She has an alcohol problem, and she refuses to admit it. She'll say, no, I don't. Well, that's what codependent people do. And alcoholics and drug users do is, no, I don't have a problem. Well, the first step in correcting the problem is admitting you have a problem. Obviously with her, she needs to hit the bottom of the barrel. That's the problem. She needs to hit the bottom of the barrel and then have somebody that is based in reality be like, here you go. Boom. Let me help you get back into reality. And exactly. That's absolutely right. This is the comment right here that Facts or Frauds put out there. I'm referring to their arrest report for her DUI with the baby in the back. No diaper, soiled diaper by her face, and mom passed out in the front. The story she'll tell you is, oh no, I wasn't. I was trying to charge my phone. I was sitting in this parking lot. And if you get the video, it'll show it. Well, the cops all have body cams on, if I'm correct. So I guess I'll have to go request the body cam footage and do a FOIA request for that so we can see that. But yes, thank you. Facts or Frauds, you're awesome. You're awesome. I love your channel.
Defaming my character, saying that I did not provide care, custody, or control and shelter. Again, these are all lies. I have stayed in my current apartment for almost 2 years now, and I have my own automobile. My daughter has her own Instagram page where I will take daily pictures of.
Now here, why would an 11-month-old child need to have an Instagram page? My 14-year-old doesn't even have one. She just barely has a Facebook page. So why in the world does your 11-month-old child have an Instagram page? That right there. A parent should never allow that. With all the creeps out there on the internet, especially in this whole Moorish, Mortar, delusional group cult. Yeah, that's who I want having a Instagram page.
I was also breastfeeding. So without any proof, the child neglect and magistrate, Adriana Recone Wright.
So there's another problem with her drinking. If she was breastfeeding her child will, well, I don't know how many people, but common sense and general knowledge, we know that breastfeeding transfers nutrition to a child. Well, it transfers whatever's in your body, whether it's drugs, alcohol, a certain medication you might be taking, anything along those lines. It gets in the milk and it transfers that to the child. So there is that abuse, that neglect, the unsafe environment, that right there, because who knows how often she was doing that and passing that stuff on to her child, which is not good for a developing child. That's common sense.
Of Las Vegas 8th Judicial Family Division, who is in conspiracy with the doctors, therapists, and attorneys.
Again, no proof of any of that. No proof. Nothing.
Found me guilty of abusing my 11-month-old daughter. I was not given a fair trial. No jury was present.
You don't get jury trials for family services issues. And that's something, if you don't believe me, go, that's something you can run by Law Talk with Mike. And I'm sure Facts or Frauds could probably pop that up too. But I do believe, I know in Georgia, you don't get a jury trial when it deals with Department of Child and Family Services. That's not how it works. There's no jury trial for that.
Please know that I would never abuse my child. Never. Again, they have no evidence of abuse. There was no bruises, no scratches, no marks, no witnesses saying they saw.
People know this. Abuse is not always on the outside. As a former Navy psych tech, abuse can be verbal, it can be emotional, non-physical, which were those two I just named. It can be nutritional abuse by not taking care of that child properly, feeding them. It could be, the cleanliness of the child. Abuse is not just physical. And anyways, if you were abusing the child physically, you can hide it. You're the mother. You know where the marks are. And just because you don't have any quote unquote witnesses doesn't mean you weren't abusing the child. Now, you're right. You say there's none of this, but that's not the only form of abuse. Okay? That's the problem.
Saw me abuse the baby? None of that. About me. I'm a solo mother. I self-delivered my baby at home. I had a lotus birth, so she came into this world naturally. I have never signed a birth certificate, therefore I never made her a ward of the state. I am a personal trainer by trade, but
Okay, first off, a birth certificate does not make you a ward of the state. I'm still trying to figure out who started that lie. I think that comes from the soft sits. But a birth certificate does not make you or your children wards of the state. All it is a certificate that shows, hey, here's where I was born. Here's who my parents were. Some of them are a little bit more detailed than others, where they'll have the address, the address of both the father and the mother and where they were born. Like I know when my oldest was born, it had my wife and I's address, but it also had the state and the county I was born in. Same thing with my wife. And then it had, the date and time she was born, and that was that. And it was a certified true copy. It was on the nice green paper. We actually frame it. We actually got another copy and framed the copy and put the original away. But anyways, that does not mean you're a ward of the state. So again, I got to find out who started that lie.
before having my daughter, I used to work as an office manager for several Fortune 500 companies in downtown San Francisco. I also used to coach children's basketball.
Okay, I'm still trying to find that out too. Now, if you type in her actual name, you'll get some information. You'll see the addresses in California where she lived. Do I believe she was working for Fortune 500 companies as a certified trainer? No. And again, if you look at some of her past videos before this whole Moorish moronic delusion set in with her, she has some very clean pictures of her and her daughter. I think something happened mentally that caused this. And before we move from this video, I do want to show something. I was able, and I'll put the link in the description, but I think it's worth sharing real quick. So this right here, it's a site called nedv.org, forms of abuse. And just to go through it, just so you have a little bit of an inclination, there's physical abuse. And that's a powerful way that abused person keeps their partner under control and instills an environment of constant fear. Physical violence may include hitting, punching, kicking, slapping, strangling, smothering, using or threatening to use a weapon, shoving, interrupting the sleep, throwing things, destroying property, hurting or killing pets, and denying medical treatment. Okay? There's sexual abuse, there's emotional abuse, financial abuse. So just right there in it of itself, we see this constant abuse. Yeah, that'll do it. Being introduced to that dumbass, Mr. Christopher Cannon Bay.
Soccer for over 8 years.
So again, it says she was a soccer coach. She coached youth soccer for over 8 years. Okay. Not many people are going to try to throw that in their letter of remorse or whatever she wants to call this. But, okay, still doesn't have any bearing on what you did now.
I am currently an entrepreneur. I write children's books and I study common law.
I have not seen one children's book that she writes. So she's right. She does study this quote unquote common law, and this is where the delusion comes in.
Nature's law, treaty law, and constitutional and human rights.
So she is just an altogether activist, all in one. Also, Saeed, I just want to say to you, you might want to probably talk to somebody who has a better understanding of treaty law than you do, because you definitely don't understand the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I'll have to get with you and give you a breakdown of how that treaty actually works. You and all your mooptards, I'll have to gather you together.
My biggest job is being a mother. And I enjoy staying at home taking care of my baby, laughing, joking, reading, teaching her to love. Because my daughter was abducted, it has been a rough time keeping a steady income because I have to continue to fight getting her back.
No, what she's continuously doing is filing fictitious paperwork and wasting her time doing this, where she could easily get a job, which I believe was one of the requirements. That's why I've requested the paperwork. Was one of the requirements of her getting her daughter back was to get a verifiable, steady job with a reputable employer. And again, if she's a physical trainer, then and you're an entrepreneur, then business license, EIN number, clients. Clients are going to do research. They're going to see this weird shit and be like, nope, and off they go. And I can tell you, as a private physical trainer, I have two friends of mine that went that route, and they make some good money. I mean, they're in the right areas where, they definitely know how to do it, and they have the business license. It's not this fictitious, delusional, Moorish, non-legal paperwork. It's an actual business license, and they have their LLC credentials, and they have their EIN number, and they pay their taxes. But they do well in that. And again, that right there could be proof to show them, say, yes, I've got this many clients. So it gives me freedom to be home with my daughter. She doesn't have to spend a whole lot of time in extra care or in daycare. She's with me if I'm not with a client. So there is that. You're absolutely right.
Focus and determination.
It's, for those people in the comments, and you hit the nail right on the head with this one, that she is, if you look at her, she's in phenomenal shape. I would say just by her videos, she's probably maybe mid to late 30s. I think there's a part where she talks about where her age is. But again, that drinking and the Moorish delusion, and that's what flipped everything around for her, and that's what has destroyed her life.
Stay-at-home mother since my daughter was born. I am a hardworking and I do not drink.
The sad part, she just lied there. So if somebody from Child Protective Services or the district attorney or whoever is keeping tabs on her page and they saw that, they're like, well, you just lied to us. I mean, that's a lie. We have proof. This is what led to it.
I haven't dated in years because my main focus is my daughter and my business.
So if your main focus is your daughter and your business, I would be more apt to come to your channel and listen to you talk about healthy diet, proper nutrition. If you're trying to lose weight, which ways work better than others. Care for your bones and joints. As a professional trainer, those are things you know about. And so that is what, if you're truly focused on your business and your daughter, that would be the thing. Now, if you're truly focused on your daughter, you would have done what CPS told you to do in the first place.
I do not have a criminal background besides minor traffic violations.
Not true anymore.
And there is no history of abuse or neglect on my record whatsoever.
There may not have been before, but now there is.
Or mental problems.
Now, again, we don't know, but I'm going to tell you right now, you are suffering from delusions of grandeur. I went over this when I was talking about the scam that is Timothy Drew or Thomas Drew, Mr. Wannabe Prophet of the Mooptards. That is the problem. And there you go right there. She's not telling the whole story. Again, facts are fraud. Dear Lord, you must have the whole story on her. She did move from California to Las Vegas. So her criminal record in California, I guarantee, is being looked at. They probably said, oh, you lived here. Let's go get a hold of California and get your criminal record there. Let's see what your criminal past is.
I am an intellectual, I'm a researcher, I'm a humanitarian, and I study civics.
She studies delusional civics, and the history she's studying is BS that has been fed to her by Mr. C. Cannon Bay.
Nothing in my background will warrant this removal. Our life before CPS. We had a happy life. Very, very happy. Great life before CPS.
She's absolutely correct. If you look at the videos before this took place of her and her child, very happy baby from what we can see. Dear Lord. But this is what led to it. Being part of this Moorish delusion has led to it.
My daughter was even a bit spoiled. Her Instagram page even...
Again, why does an 11-month-old, and before this, have an Instagram page? She should not have an Instagram page. I'm telling you, as a father of daughters, that is the last thing I want them to have. It's not like I'm trying to stem them from talking to their friends. I just know the creeps out there. Okay? With cyberbullying, cyber stalking, the shit that happens in the schools, they don't need to be part of that right now. They have more important things to worry about. Why does your 11-month-old? That is a poor parenting choice, because I'm telling you that 11-month-old didn't pick up her cell phone and go, oh, let me create an Instagram account. It's not how it works. Mommy did it because mommy wants to show you off to the world. Well, that's great. It should probably be on mommy's Instagram page instead of your daughter having her own. That is a problem.
States this fact. You can go check it out at Ashe Divine.
And then she gives you her child's name. Now, granted, we know who the child is. It's in the records. And that's what the horrible thing is here you are trying to fight for this child, to get that child back. But you're out here like a PR rep, putting your child out there like she's an actress. Now, if your child was a child actress or did photogenics, I could understand that. You have control of that. You put a little bit more control on it. Trademark pictures, copyrighted material. You put watermarks across them in case somebody tries to take one. So that to an extent I understand. But just creating one just to put it out there and then to go on video and say, oh yes, let me give you my daughter's name. You just fuel the fire of the creeps out there. And Swindle, great comment right here. She's getting her information from Pauline Ricci, a.k.a. Light Chijari Bay. All her moron documents were created by Pauline and Sharon Gale Bay. That does not surprise me one bit at all. Not surprised.
My daughter always was laughing and smiling. Always laughing and smiling. She loved me to take pictures of her, and she loved to do baby talk. She would just talk up a baby talk storm all the time, always.
So basically what a infant sounds like, jibber jabber. We all know what that is. They're hearing themselves for the first time too. So they're curious. So they just keep on doing it. I've got 5 kids. They all did it. You know, it's cute, but it's not your justification. Okay.
Talking. She studied daily YouTube. I used to give her YouTube videos every day.
That's the other problem. I used to give her Moorish YouTube videos every day to watch.
Teach baby Spanish, Mandarin, and Swahili.
I'm guaranteeing you that child only knows English.
She's a vegetarian, so...
And here we go. Here is your neglect. Right here. Here is that neglect they're talking about. You just automatically make your child a vegetarian. Do you realize how detrimental that is to their development? They need protein, okay? And I guess you could define vegetarian as, a vegetarian that eats fish or chicken because it's not red meat. Okay, I all my girls love to eat vegetables, but they all still eat meat. Why? Because they need that to grow, build muscle, regenerate, and rebuild their muscles at night when they go to sleep. They need that stuff. So they, again, You can't just take that portion out and think that it's not abuse or neglect. Again, why they hit you with it? Oh, you're absolutely right. You know, you can see that she does love this daughter or love this child of hers, but there is the neglect side of it. And as stated before, that's why the alcohol happened. So again, you know, that it's the alcohol and this delusional thought process is probably what caused the neglect. And yeah, but then again, you know, I flipped the coin to the other side on this one. And you know, when I look at this, I think to myself, we'll go ahead and remove that out and finish this off here. When I look at this, there's two sides to every coin. And on the same side of it, this could be nothing more than a show. Okay. It's very easy for people. Remember when I talked about the scam of, you know, Mr. Timothy or Thomas Drew, I talked about that delusional thought that it's not a heavy hitter in psychosis, in a psychotic diagnosis. But in some people, that delusion, that thought process, there is that psychotic part that they can turn on a smile or a cry whenever they want. And in that same frame of mind, it shows the delusion. It shows that, well, you know, I'll do this and I'll read this and I'll say this and I'll get people on my side. And that's what it's for, is to gather attention. And they think in their minds, well, hey, I'm putting one over on these people because they think I actually care. Well, if you actually cared, you should have did what they told you to do in the beginning. And that's the part right there. You know, it's a very slippery slope when you start dealing with alcohol. Yeah, and it really is. It's a sad thing, because then again, she could actually really, really love her daughter. And I'm not saying she doesn't now, but I'm saying that the psychosis is such, the delusion is such, the narcissism is so much into this that she just looks at it like, I'll just turn it on because I know I'll get sympathy and it'll look good. And that's sad that you have to look at both sides of the coin and think that way about somebody, especially when it's dealing with kids. And as it was stated here in the comments, you know, Moorish Movement and Alcohol claim more children taken by CFS daily than any other. Again, you can't blame CFS for doing what they're doing. They're trying to protect that child, but in the same right, they're trying to give you a way to get your child back. It's up to you. You know, if give up this delusional thinking, which has been debunked millions of times. I mean, the videos are out there. You know, I'm not the only one that's destroying the Moorish paperwork that we see come through, and I've got a lot more that I can't wait to go over with you guys. But it's there. You know, it's there. They don't want to believe it. You know, they believe that this document and this old version from the 1700s and this treaty over here that I don't understand, but somebody told me it protects me from everything. That's the problem. Exactly. You know, it's just, as he states, her videos changed as the time went on. That smile in her eyes, speaking about her daughter, went to calling her property. She thinks her daughter's property. I don't think any one of my children is property. They depreciate in value. Joking. They increase a little bit, but then there's days when the market crashes on child. It just, yeah. As a father of 5, trust me. But again, you know, I really hope this whole ordeal she's going through, maybe in the back of her mind as it keeps going and she doesn't have her daughter. I mean, let's look at what's coming up here. We're in a brand new year. We just walked into March, okay? You're starting to have holidays. So You got Mother's Day coming around. You've got Father's Day. And you know what? I'd love for this dad to come up out of the woodworks. If I was this dad, this father to this child, and I saw what was happening, I'd be like, whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, what is going on? Yeah, I know I've been absent for a year. I'll do whatever I have to do, but what is going on right here? You know, what? And that's the thing. That's why, again, one of the reasons why she didn't fill out the birth certificate, there's a video where she says, well, they're lucky I just gave you his first name. Well, you're doing your daughter a disservice, you know? You're doing this guy a disservice. I mean, I'm wondering if he even knew you were pregnant. You know, it's one of those things that maybe you got pregnant and, you know, in California and came back to Nevada or something. You drove out there to see somebody. You met up. You did your thing. You came back. I did not know that. That is very interesting. So Darius was pistol whipped. That's why she brings up the 9mm pistol. Thank you. You closed another loop for me. Learning new things all the time. So I appreciate that right there. Thanks. Thanks, Facts or Fraud. That helps out a lot right there. But again, so the dad's tracked her down and gets beat because he's trying to figure out what's going on. So again, you know, I'm hoping as time goes on, because like I said, you got Mother's Day coming, you got the Father's Day, you got the 4th of July. You know, you get through those holidays, and then you come into the ones that really create memories for your family and for your kids. You know, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. I mean, those are the best times in my life with my kids. I mean, I enjoy being with my kids all the time, except when they are the definition of tyrants. But anyways, I enjoy being with my kids all the time. And anytime that I can, you know, snap a picture or get that mental image of a memory or a smile about something, you know, that's what means the most to me. So I would hope as time goes on, maybe that voice in the back of her head that has been just shut down for so long is going to finally start speaking to her and say, look, you know, SADE, this is look what's happened. We've gotten nowhere. You've gotten nowhere with this. And you keep getting deeper into this hole. Let's come out of the hole. Let's do what we need to do to reestablish the safety, the security, you know, the income for you and your child. And then go back to them, go back to the judge, do whatever you got to do and say, look, I realize I've been a dumbass. Please tell me what I got to do to get my daughter back. You know, where do I need to start? And, you know, her just admitting that she was wrong would probably just knock over everybody that has been involved with this case from the state and the county side of things. And honestly, she would then be on the right path. But the other problem, she would need to disconnect from this group that has fed her lies for so long and have fed into this delusion for so long. That would be the hard part. And here's the thing. I don't care what religious sect or group you believe in. I don't care if you believe in Christianity, Buddhism, Judaism, Islam. I don't care. And I think if she actually found the true meaning of Islam and actually went to a true Islamic temple and talked to, you know, the leaders of that temple, they would even start disproving a lot of this stuff she's been told. And see, that's the problem. Once adoption starts, it's a hard process to stop. You know, it really is. And she's fighting this the wrong way. She really is. It's going to come to the point, and I really hope it doesn't. And I'm not saying this because I have a disdain for this group's theology. Okay, it's not the people. I don't dislike the people. I dislike the actions and the theology and the just misinformation that these people are following. But what I hope doesn't happen is it goes down that line. Her child is adopted by another set of parents, and she can never get her daughter back. And then she goes down that rabbit hole even further of deep depression, despair. It leads to the end thing, which is suicide. And I really hope it doesn't. I hope she gets help. And I actually sent her a message, and I was very cordial about it with her. And I said, I understand. I've researched what you believe in. However, do you think this is the right course to get your daughter back? And I left it at that. I didn't go into what I thought she should do or, any of that. I just left it at that, because if she comes back and says, yeah, this is the best course, I'm going to be like, you're a lost cause. You're truly a lost cause. And I also wish, believe it or not, that the leaders of the actual Islamic temples that are in the United States, that are in these areas, would step up and say, look, we don't condone this type of behavior at all. Like, really publicly made it known. Because I think that would put another hurt on crushing this movement, this delusion that these people have. And, I've talked to Muslims, and I've asked them questions about this kind of stuff. And I'm fairly new to this game. And I've asked them and said, what is your thought about this? And everyone I've talked to said he's not a prophet. He's a false prophet. And it's sad he's got these people believing in him. And the way I compare him is it's no different than the David Koresh and the Grand Davidian compound. People believed he was Jesus. In that cult, they believed he was Jesus. And we all know how that ended, and it shouldn't have ended that way. It should have never ended that way. But it's the same thing. And when you talk to other Muslims and they're like, no, that this guy was never a prophet. He said he was. He never actually was. There's nothing in the actual Quran that says anything about him being a prophet, or that Allah blessed him, or he got blessed to be a prophet. Nowhere. And that's why he had to write his own book, to make it believable for, again, his delusional thoughts, for his followers who were just as delusional to believe. And it's sad. It really is. And so I hope, again, I go back to this. I really do hope that that voice starts talking to her and says, you know what, Sadid, this is not the right path. This is what's going to happen. You're going to keep going this route, and you're never going to get your daughter back. You're never going to be able to fight to get your daughter back, because once this is done, it's over with. You need to come back here. You need to get to this spot. And she needs to wake up with a revelation and just be like, you know what? I'm done with this. I'm doing this the wrong way. And she needs to either go in to CPS or call CPS and say, look, I'm sorry. I've been doing this the wrong way. I've been an ass. I've been stupid. Please tell me what I got to do to get my daughter back. What I want her part of my life. I want to be part of her life. And even though the adoption process has started, and I think the reason why the process is as long as it is to potentially give that one last chance to the biological parents to correct their actions and to do what is needed to be done to show and prove that you can be that responsible, loving, caring person that defenseless child needs in their life. And, again, just listening to her read that letter, it's like, no, you're not taking responsibility for anything, and we'll get into some of her other videos, because I love just tearing apart the documents she has attempted to file. And it's just, it makes your heart hurt to a point, because of that child is suffering. And the good thing about it, though, is that child is adapting to a new family, and the child is so young that because she's going to be part of this new family, she'll probably never remember Sadid. And these people, from what I was, 3 years, that's pretty sad. 3 years and you refuse to do what needed to be done for your daughter. So again, I don't want to be a heartless ass, which I can easily be in this situation, But I also don't want to seem like I'm giving her a pass because of her actions. You know, for 3 years, if you couldn't figure out what you needed to do to save your child and you thought this was the right case, this delusional self-thought, well, you're wrong. And now you're going to pay the consequences because this child will never remember you. And, you know, she made the comment in one of her videos, it's like, oh, yeah, you know, she seems sleepy. And, well, it's probably because the child's not hooked up on something that came from your breast milk. Just saying, or something you fed her. You know, maybe they got her on a regimen of actual, you know, what the kid needs. So again, I'm not a child psychiatrist or psychologist. This is just from, you know, hearing these videos, listening to her talk. I've seen some of the previous videos, and I really hope SADE gets her life back on track. I really do. I don't want her to live this way, because what's going to happen is, like I said, if she's trying to reestablish or establish her business as a personal trainer, well, people research you. And when they type your name, if you say, well, my name's SADE Renee L, and then at the end of it, you say all rights reserved. Well, I'm a normal citizen, U.S. citizen. I'm going to look at that and be like, what the hell is she talking about? I don't want to be trained by this person. Nope, sorry, I'll find somebody else. Or they're going to Google you and find all of this stuff about you. And that is what's going to destroy. You're never going to be able to get your business off the ground. So that's all I have for this live stream. I do appreciate Facts or Fraud Swindle. You guys popped up in the video. White Dagger, first time I've seen her on the chat. I do appreciate everybody stopping in and giving your input and watching this. I know we cut the video a little short, but as she keeps reading, I'm sure a lot of you have already seen it. There's a couple instances where she breaks down emotionally. And that very well could be, you know, the love for her child, as Facts or Fraud, stated, but the neglect portion is still there. Or it could be that she's just psychotic. However, with that being said, you know, appreciate everybody showing up. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell as well. You know, that way you're aware when the next videos come on. I'm gonna be setting the rest of the week's schedule. We're still doing our thing going after Christopher Bay. I will be coming to you guys live tomorrow, kind of like a press release. We just sent out a bunch of informational packets, evidence packets actually, to the leadership in Chicago, along with the U.S. Attorney's Office, both West and Eastern divisions. We also sent one to the state's attorney, their attorney general, the Fed Attorney General as well. So we're hoping. We also sent a packet to Mayor Lori Lightfoot's office as well, because you know what, we want this to get out there, and it proves what it'll prove to me in the end is, if you take this and throw it away and don't do nothing, this proves that you're just going along for the ride and you don't care that these people are breaking federal laws. Yeah. C. Cannon Bay, Christopher Cannon, we know who you are. I got some important information to show on him. If anybody wants to see it, let me know. I got to go through it and kind of redact a little bit of it, but I was able to pull some info on him as well. And it's really funny how they got stuff listed. So again, thanks everybody for showing up to this edition of Docs Taking on the Mormish. Thank you for being in the clinic. It's always fun to have you guys. Lots of comments this time around. I do appreciate that, everybody. So take care. The Doc's out, and I will see you next time. Have a good one.